What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Multiverse Monologues, the podcast show where we like to travel across the multiverses and fandoms that we love to talk about the movies and television shows that accompany those universes. And today we'll be traveling back to a universe that we know well and good, a universe that we travel to very often, the MCU. But it's always a particularly special event when we travel to the MCU for the Marvel movie marathon, and today we are going to be discussing the second installment of the Iron Man franchise, this one taking place in 2010, Iron Man 2. It is a pleasure to be back in the MCU, me, myself, with the two gentlemen who are always here on the Marvel movie marathon, first off being Mr. Ethan Westloff. Ethan, how are you?
I'm doing great, the MCU, baby! I'm so happy to be back here talking about the MCU. The MCU is always a ride, but we're going to take Tony Stark's advice that he gives in the later half of this film. So I'm going to tell our audience this. Drop your socks and grab your Crocs, because we're about to get wet on this ride.
Straight up, not gonna lie, I misheard that line when I was watching it the first time. I'll let you go with that. Mr. Mike Ahead, how are you doing today?
I am ready to bring the hammer down, but I hope it is not as bad as the hammer in this movie.
Oh.
And making weapons of war. Let me say that.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your clarification.
You can also take that statement wherever you want. But yes, Iron Man 2, that's what we're going to be talking about today as we slowly make our way through the Marvel Universe. This is our 23rd film, I would say, that we've been ranking, and we're gonna talk about this and go in depth. But before we do, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any podcast channel that you listen to us on. That would be greatly appreciated. But with all that out of the way, let's open our sling rings and head over to the MCU.
Our priority is to get the Iron Man weapon turned over to the United States of America.
I am Iron Man. The suit and I are one.
There will be blood in the water. I hope you're ready.
Go get him, boss.
You complete me? I want one.
No.
Jon Favreau's second installment in the Iron Man franchise is met with, whenever I look at this movie on anyone's rankings, it's always like the bottom two. It's either Incredible Hulk or Iron Man 2 at the bottom of everyone's list. And I've seen this movie once. Mm-hmm. I've seen this movie once before. I don't really remember it. It was for my Marvel rewatch. But when I was a kid, fun fact, I was not allowed to watch this movie.
Oh,
my dad was not a fan of the second movie as he was the first one. So I wasn't allowed to watch it. So when I was older, I finally watched it, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it like 6 or 7 years ago when I watched it. But obviously this is a new light.
New day and age. Yeah.
A new day and age. That's right. That's right. But Ethan, I want to get your thoughts first of all, but before we get your thoughts, I know you've always got your summary handy.
But do you want to get my thoughts on the movie before I read the summary? Is that what you're saying? Or do you want to
either one?
Let me just read the summary as I normally do. With the world now aware of his dual life as the armored hero Iron Man, billionaire inventor Tony faces pressure from the government, the press, and the public to share his technology with the military. Unwilling to let go of his invention, Stark, along with Pepper Potts and James Rhodes, must forego new alliances and confront powerful enemies. Now that's a very vague synopsis right there, but this movie stars Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Mickey Rourke as Ivan Vanko, and Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts, Don Cheadle as James Rhodes. Probably not Terrence Howard.
Wait a minute.
What's going on there?
They
recasted someone, but we'll talk about that a little later. Scarlett Johansson making her debut as, the IMDb says Natalie Rushman, but we know for a fact that is not true. Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, and Clark Gregg as Agent Coulson.
Can I add one thing before we get started?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would like to, from here on out in our Marvel reviews, I would like to include the Hollywood Reporter top 70 ranking.
Okay.
For this movie.
I like that.
For those who don't know,
I hate this list.
Okay, so this is whack.
Give context.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I came across this on TikTok, and I had to look at it before someone reacted to it. And this is, without a doubt, the worst Marvel ranking of any Marvel ranking of all time. They ranked 70 movies, The Hollywood Reporter did, and there is not one pick that I think I agree with in this ranking. Not even the last.
Can you
pick.
name the name of the person who wrote this?
Oh,
I'm pretty sure their name is on the list.
I'll say it at the end because I'll have to scroll all the way back up the list. But
okay.
let me just say, Avengers: Infinity War out of 70 movies, number 31, right?
Which is a crime against humanity.
Yeah. Iron Man 2 is at 28.
Oh.
It's ranked higher than Infinity War. Right off the bat, would you guys say this is better or worse than Infinity War?
I'd say it's worse. It's not a hot take. This is worse than Infinity War for sure.
That's just a base fact. I came out of the womb. It was common knowledge. It was Darth Vader as Luke's father. That's just a fact. It's one of the worst lists. If you want to get angry, go read that list. Hollywood Reporter.
But if you want an accurate
70.
list on these movies ranked, we are currently in the process of doing that.
Yeah,
here
we're
on
going to
our
have the most
Marvel
accurate
movie marathon. Yeah.
Marvel movie marathon list
Ever.
No, but all jokes aside, legit. I'm not even kidding. Because this is all of us, 3 dudes, casual or not.
Yeah, self-praise.
6 feet apart because we're not
on
last
high
episode
right now.
3.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm also very humble. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, we are the humblest of humble out here.
Mr. Wentzloff, what do you think? Well, first of all, I want to know your history because this movie's been out for a long time. What's your history with Iron Man 2?
So this, I literally don't remember my first time seeing this, but I've seen this. This is probably my 5th time seeing this now. And I'm trying to remember when I would have watched this for the first time. I don't know. I watched Iron Man a little after I watched the Avengers movie in theaters. And a few years later, I watched this. And my history of this, I was not a big fan of this. This is, as you said, this falls at the bottom of most MCU rankings, down there with Hulk and down there with this. Yeah, Iron Man 2. So going into this, I was not too hot on it, but I'll tell you right now, Iron Man 2. I don't know if it's because we are on this Marvel movie marathon and we know what bad superhero movies are. I'm here to say that this is not one of them. I like Iron Man 2.
All right.
I like Iron Man 2. Yes.
Okay. And notably, this is the bottom of everyone's MCU list.
Yes.
When they rank everything, apparently it comes up at, what was it, 28?
No, yeah. It's just a little bit better than Infinity War.
Just a little better than Infinity War.
Which is insane. Micah, what's your history with Iron Man 2?
This is, out of all the early MCU movies, this is one of few of them I remember seeing in theaters.
Oh.
I saw this one in theaters. My family is huge into movies, so we especially when we were younger, you just bring all the kids over to the movie theater, and it's like $2 over at Tinseltown back then. So it was, whatever. I distinctly remember the race car scene, and then
As you should.
oh yeah,
Iconic.
that's the coolest part of the whole movie because it's race cars and cool electric whips. Yeah, that's my history with it. This is probably my 2nd time seeing the movie since then. It's been a while. And going into it, I was like, okay, first movie was really good, really positive. We'll see where it goes from, how will they improve upon this? How will they... And I got to say, it wasn't an improvement over the first one.
Oh, no.
What can beat the iconic Iron Man 1? It's almost a perfect movie in my opinion, but Iron Man 2, it doesn't have the same energy. It tries to emulate the same kind of feelings you get from the first one, but it doesn't commit to them. And it's like a cheap knockoff in some ways.
Okay.
But is it a bad movie? No.
For reference, our first Iron Man movie in our ranking is the 2nd, I believe, of all of the Marvel films. So big shoes to fill. But the original crew is back. Jon Favreau is here to direct. I'm not sure about the writers, but not overly positive. Not as positive as Ethan, I would say. Would you say that, Micah? Not as positive as Ethan?
Not as positive as Ethan.
Yeah.
I'd say it wasn't a bad movie,
Right.
but would I watch it again? Nah, I'm not sure.
So in the context of all the Marvel films that we've watched, this is certainly not among the bad. I mean, if you want a bad Marvel movie, we've watched many of them, notably last week with Punisher Warzone. Now, this is nowhere near that. But
was Punisher Warzone last week? No, we did X-Men Origins
Justin
Wolverine.
Thoreau wrote this.
holy catfish. We're moving
But
right
yeah,
along,
same
man.
deal. If you want a bad movie, go watch X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, you know how we all feel about that. And if you don't, go listen, because that's a good one. But I'm largely in the same camp as Micah here. The first one is so good, and this is the main thing, and the problem that I have with this one is that scenes just are it's so disjointed. This movie feels, especially the first half. It kind of cools down in the second half, but the first half feels so disjointed and scenes come out of nowhere. And there feels like it's a lot less tight than the first one was, whereas it was a very simple premise. In this one, there's almost too much going on with the two villains. And even though there's an excellent performance by Justin Hammer, I think he is great in this movie. There isn't, even Tony Stark, I found myself annoyed with in this movie. And that is not something I was super happy about, because even in the first one, he's made to be annoying, but he's still likable because of where he goes. I
want to highlight this. So this is an old take I had, your exact take. That's how I felt every time. That's honestly why I really didn't like this movie. But this watch, getting to see it and getting to see Tony, it is the worst of his worst. Like, he doesn't get worse than he does in Iron Man 2. And just knowing where he goes and his arc, I think it just makes his whole story even more beautiful than it already was. So to me, I don't know. So to me, I liked it. I liked this whole movie. I really did. And maybe it goes into how I watched this. I didn't watch this in one sitting. I watched this in 4 sittings. I did. But that's because just timing wise, it didn't work out to where I could sit through it. And as I watched it in these chunks, it really, to me, played like an episode of television. And you were saying how it felt kind of chunky in certain scenes and very blocked off in a way. And it really does. It doesn't feel like a movie, I'd say. As a movie, it really isn't the best. But to me, as like just kind of lore dumping and little Easter eggs here and there, I think it does a really good job. And I love all the performances in this movie. There isn't one bad performance in this movie. Freaking Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, he sucks, but he brings his A game in this. Pepper Potts, Gwyneth Paltrow, Samuel L. Jackson, James Rockwell as Justin Hammer.
That's his name.
Fantastic. Yeah. So to me, I'm not going to say that this is the best Marvel movie ever, because it's certainly not. But I am just so relieved in a way, because for years I've looked very down on this movie, but this recent rewatch, I actually had a really good time. Hey. And it might be because of the state of the MCU is in now, and the fact that we don't have a Tony Stark. And I love all the little Easter eggs they plant in this. So many characters and so many things I was seeing. Oh, that's going to pay off later. The senator guy.
Senator Stern.
Senator Stern.
A Hydra agent.
He's a Hydra agent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who'd have thought?
I know. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? But I love stuff like that. And yes, the movie is very blocky, and it doesn't flow the best, and scenes do come out of nowhere. But I think when you sit down at the end of the day and look at it, it's pretty enjoyable.
I agree with a lot of what you said, but the only thing I'll disagree with is Justin Hammer. I didn't like his performance in this movie.
Really?
I thought he was probably the worst villain we've ever seen.
Dude, I was literally
like on the level of those vampires in Blade. Like, it was so bad.
No.
I didn't laugh at a single one of his things. I thought it was so dumb. Like, compared to what's his name? Obadiah Stane. Whatever Old Testament name.
Okay, all right. It's hard. Okay,
like, how do you go from writing such an awesome villain to writing such a just garbage character?
I want to just bounce back at you with this because he's not even the worst written villain in this movie.
I know.
Come on.
Wait.
Whiplash is way worse.
Come on.
I liked him more than
says
Hammer.
is,
Oh,
"I
he's
want
terrible.
my boros."
Whiplash, I'll say, is bad.
Yeah.
Not good.
I would like to flip that. Hammer, I
interesting.
think, did such a bad job being a villain. Because, I mean, he's so just awful at making things.
He
His
sucks,
only
but
thing
he's the
was being
antithesis.
sucky. And Whiplash actually does some damage. He feels like an actual terrorist in this movie. I mean, he's no Obadiah Stane, but still, I thought he was intimidating how he didn't talk very much. He just kind of like walked around and observed, and he had his own thing going on. He had his own agenda.
He did, yeah.
And he just used Hammer and his gullibleness and his stupid, like, uppity rich man syndrome. Like, oh, I can just give him money and he'll do whatever I want. That's his character flaw, sure.
Yeah.
Whiplash just takes advantage of all that, and that's so cool. I think Whiplash is like a real villain.
Man, I was watching this movie and I just loved Justin Hammer so much. I was actually going to bring up the just the Marvel movie marathon as a whole and go, all right, who are the best villains we've had so far? Because I think Justin Hammer right now, as it stands, is a top 5.
Man, I hated him.
That's so crazy to me.
That is.
He was great.
He was so bad. I hated his line
gun
delivery.
scene where he's like showing him the guns and he's like,
Claridge high-tech semi-automatic 9mm pistol. 2 downtown? I agree. M24 shotgun, pump action, 5-round magazine. You know what? You're not a hunter. What am I talking about? I'm getting rid of it.
he was so quirky. The way that Sam Rockwell played
So
him.
fun to watch.
I just also like Sam Rockwell.
So
as
fun
an
to
actor.
watch, yeah.
I didn't
thought
like how he
was
delivered
great.
his lines. I didn't like how stuttery he like repeated the same thing. Like he was trying to do ad-libbing, but it didn't work. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't for me. Maybe I'll have to watch this movie again to really get what you guys were
Maybe
saying.
you
but
have to. Can you explain? So you were telling me about it earlier.
Yeah.
Did you take a nap in the middle of this movie, Micah?
I almost did.
You almost did.
Almost did.
Okay.
I love the scene where he's sitting with Mickey Rourke and he's sitting there and he starts speaking Russian again for like the millionth time and he's like,
I don't know if you know this, but I don't speak Russian!
I was laughing my butt off. I think I like him even more than Tony Stark in this movie. That's how good Sam Rockwell was. I love me some Tony Stark, but in my opinion, I don't like Tony Stark in this movie. I think Robert Downey Jr. does a good portrayal of portraying the weak and, almost battered down Tony Stark. I just don't like his character.
Yeah,
in
he
this movie.
sucks.
Yeah.
He for sure sucks.
And that's why I like Sam Rockwell, because he's just so good.
I love how Tony hates him though in this movie, and any interaction they have, he's just like, this guy. You kidding me? This guy? They're like you said, they perfectly contradict each other. You have a Tony Stark in the expo at the beginning with all the girls and the lights and the fireworks going crazy. He's in the Iron Man suit, crazy energy in there. But then later in the movie, you have Sam Rockwell at the expo. He's just dancing, dude. He's dancing. Same amount of energy,
I
though.
love that
It's great.
scene.
It's so good.
Better than a couple of cheerleaders up here, am I right? That was great. And then him taking control. I mean, the ending scene with the whole battle in that like Zen garden place in the Stark Expo. Oh, that's one of the coolest
cool.
battles
That was
I
cool.
think that Iron Man ever has.
These movies
With War
always have
Machine.
really good final fights, opening fights, things like that. It's just Sam. What's his name? Sam Rockwell. He didn't do it for me.
He didn't do it for
No,
you.
he didn't
Which
do
is,
it for me.
Which is
the
fine.
part that
It's
I
just-
did like about him, though, if I do have to say one good thing, I liked how he was completely ignored by the reporter at the beginning. I was like, yep, all right, this is how I got to take this character for the whole. I think they might set up his character wrong. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe like they make me feel like I should ignore him. Like, oh, just push him aside. He's just a
But like the whole movie kind of treats him that way too.
yeah.
He's never the big bad. He's kind of the guy that just supplies Whiplash with everything.
His stupidity annoys me.
Yeah.
And so there are rumors, though, that he is going to appear, or maybe it's even confirmed. Maybe you can correct me on this, but that he's going to be in Armor Wars. Ooh,
I think you're right.
I think
there
there
you're
were
right.
rumors of
Yeah.
that going on.
But
and I
he
would be
needs
so down for
he
that.
needs to come back.
Oh, he
does.
absolutely does. They can't do the Abomination treatment and change his character. They have to keep him.
Oh, they're
exactly
not
Is
the
gonna-
this
way.
the last time
They're
we
in-
see him, or is he in Iron Man 3?
He isn't. This is the last time we've seen him.
Which is crazy because he's so good.
Great. Yeah.
At least in my opinion. At least in my opinion.
Oh my God.
I wish you liked him, Micah, because that he was a highlight for me in what, in my opinion, I'll reveal my thoughts. It was not, well, I already kind of did, but I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. It might be one of the weakest MCU films, not across the board, but
as we've stated many times, a weak MCU film, as we've learned in this watch through, is a good Marvel film.
Yes. If there's one thing I've learned, it is certainly not even close to the level of Ang Lee's Hulk. It's not even in the same conversation.
Exactly.
At least in my opinion. I know, Micah, you
Or
have
Elektra.
a little bit of a love for that.
Howard the Duck.
Same thing.
I think it's a little higher than those ones.
It's, well, at least it's higher.
Higher than Howard the Duck, Micah?
Higher than Howard the Duck.
Oh.
Yeah, even higher than Howard the
Thank
Duck.
goodness.
No, I mean,
Some agreement.
Listen, you said Easter eggs earlier, and this might be the most Easter egg filled MCU movie, just to tease.
And that's
what's
also
coming.
a problem with it, because it is more of a setup film than an actual film. That's what made that first Iron Man so great. It was just a movie. And sure, there were some things in there that could lead to more things, like you had Phil Coulson in the first one. But this they lean so strong into so much. Like, you even see a Captain America prototype shield in part of this movie. How cool is that?
Which is
This is as a level.
yeah. Which is strange, because why the heck is he building a Cap shield? You know, maybe it was his dad's.
It was his dad's. That's what you can draw from it.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Well, we'll see in
but he
in Captain America how
built the shield. Howard Stark built the shield in Cap.
But he built Cap many prototypes. We'll see it. We'll see it when we watch that movie.
You see that exact prop?
I don't think you see that exact prop, but you see that there are many shields lined up. And actually,
That one I know,
the
yeah.
vibranium shield is the one that Howard doesn't want Steve to take, because he's like, no, that is a rare metal. You can't have that one. But Steve likes to wait. He's like, I'm going to take this one. This one's nice.
Interesting. Okay. I do agree, though. Like, they have a whole plot with Nick Fury that honestly could be written out of the movie.
And it really doesn't make sense. So let's jump back to our last Marvel film. We had, what was it? The Incredible Hulk. And at the end of that, we had Tony approach Thunderbolt Ross. It's like, I'm building a team.
Canonically,
Intriguing.
Iron Man and Iron Man. Iron Man and Iron Man 2, you're supposed to watch those two and then go Incredible Hulk, Thor, Cap. Or, well, chronologically, you do a Cap first. But Thor is the one you're supposed to watch to leading up to Avengers. Because obviously you have Loki and everything. But those two Iron Man are meant to be back to back.
Yeah, and since we're talking about setups, I mean, this has to be the best post-credit scene we've gotten so far.
Sir, we found it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
not even
without a
close.
doubt.
who in their theater would be like, no way.
Because now they know you're going to stay
Yes,
after the credits. So they're going to put something big. And Thor, imagine being a comic book fan in 2010, going to the theaters, Marvel comic book fan. You sit down and you see an end credit scene of Thor's hammer. I'd be pumped out of my mind. And that got me thinking also, when is Thor? Is that next?
Thor's next, right?
Yeah, Thor's next. Thor's next.
Next week is
I'm
Thor.
not kidding you. I'm so excited. I have so much love for Thor.
This is the equivalent of the post-credit scene in Eternals, I think. Because we get to see Blade. Dude,
We don't see Blade.
we see the Blade.
We hear.
We see the Blade.
We see
hear.
a Blade.
We don't see Mjolnir, but we see the Blade.
Oh, you're talking about the sword.
Yeah,
yeah.
the sword.
Okay, I
Isn't that-
didn't get that.
isn't that
Yes.
Blade's?
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
No, that is not Blade's sword.
Oh.
That is Black Knight's sword.
Oh,
but we
well.
hear Blade's voice.
Yeah, okay, well, Blade's in the post-credit scene, and I think that's just as sick as Mjolnir in the end of Iron Man 2.
And that's another thing.
They didn't announce Iron Man, did they? I mean, they didn't announce Thor before Iron Man 2 came out, right?
Thor had
they
to have
did.
been
They
announced.
did.
Yeah.
Thor was already in
Yeah.
production, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they announced it was like well-known knowledge.
Not really, though, because you got to remember, at this time, there's not people like us.
Yeah, there isn't like
talking
what,
about this.
M3 or whatever it's called. The
New Rockstars
New
was not
Rockstars
around.
was not a
Yeah.
thing.
New
you know.
Rockstars wasn't
Real
around. There wasn't.
Rejects
whatever it is, there's no conventions.
Yes.
When did Comic-Con start?
Comic-Con was a thing, but
Comic-Con was a thing. Not
back then it was still considered
very
weird
niche
to be a nerd. You know, now nerds rule it. Like, you know, your comic book guy.
The whole definition of nerd has kind of changed now because
Yeah.
we just love Marvel movies and Star Wars movies. We just love superhero movies.
Right.
So it's really weird now because this stuff was very niche, and there are just stories of you've had generations ago people who loved all this stuff. They'd kind of get picked on.
You feel bad almost.
You do.
You wish they could live
but
in
now
the
they
time.
can come out of the closet and be just open fans of these universes.
Truly, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you
Pride
right
for nerds, is that what you're
frickin'
saying?
Pride for
now.
nerds, yeah.
I'm telling you right freaking now. I would have been pumped out of my mind if I was a Marvel fan. And that's what I'm saying though. Like, they've kind of caught themselves into a corner, but they can't really do that now because the characters that they can bring in, you can't really tease it like you could. Thor was well known enough to comic book fans and regular people alike, but Hercules is not. Hercules doesn't have that level of hype that if you put him in a post-credit scene, it's like, holy cow, that's crazy. What does that mean for
They're
the
like,
Marvel
he's going to
universe?
start singing or something?
They still have characters they could do that with. It's just that they're not doing that. They're giving us
Hercules,
like you're talking about the casual viewers.
Yes.
Because comic fans, they know who Hercules is. They were excited when they saw that.
Yeah.
Even though it's very hard to be excited for anything after you just watched Thor Love and Thunder.
Very true,
I forgot about that post-credit scene.
right?
Yeah.
Forgot about that movie.
I
Trying to
did.
delete that from my mind.
All I remember
you know?
is stupid Zeus.
And the freaking goats, man. The freaking goats.
Which is ironic because that movie's not even close to the GOAT.
Not even close.
No.
One of the
No.
worst.
No, it's probably like way higher on the list for Hollywood Reporter.
Oh, yeah. Pull that up. I mean, it's not really on topic with Iron Man 2, but
Do you guys get the feeling that stuff was cut out from this movie
32nd place.
trim it up, you know?
well, yeah, sure.
Like it just
I feel like story stuff was cut out and then things were kind of thrown in there.
Things did feel really rushed in some points. Like, I felt like I was being thrown around.
Yeah.
Characters could have been developed more. I feel like Pepper was thrown into her position and
it was like out of nowhere.
And then all of a sudden, Black Widow is there too, and she's working with Pepper.
Shield.
Like, how did she just all of a sudden become the first-hand assistant? What?
I mean, she's a SHIELD agent. I would give her anything. If she was a part of anything, they gave her a nickname or whatever.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's just everything is so sudden in this movie, dude. Everything. And like Rhodey has a conversation with him. He's like, "What? I thought you were going to tell me about this." And it feels like we should
Rhodey
have
has
gotten that
whiplash.
scene.
Rhodey has whiplash over the whole plot,
you
including
go.
whiplash.
But I will say this. This might, I'm not going to lie, have the best Iron Man suits. And I say that plurally because the Mark IV silver suit Iron Man
That one's pretty sick.
is so beautiful along with War Machine's armor. Both of those designs are so freaking good. And the suit up scene on the racetrack is...
Let's talk about the racetrack scene. That is, like Micah said, it's a great scene in this
The buildup
movie.
is cheap, though. How he just like walks onto the.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It is cheap.
I bought the car, so I might as well drive it.
the
right?
buildup is horrible, actually.
Yeah, I'd say that. Before you even know that he's there to watch someone else race, he's just already going to race. So yeah.
Shout out, Elon Musk is in the scene too.
Shout out to that boy. That's right. But hey, he's like yelling at Pepper, "Give me the suit, give me the suit." And he keeps yelling at her. And it's like, yo, hold on. But right when he puts that suit on and that thing.
it's beautiful. Sound design.
That's one of my earliest movie theater moments. I remember watching that.
I mean, you'd have to remember that as a kid.
When did Avatar come out?
2009, a year before
That was my
this,
first movie theater moment. Was watching Avatar in theaters.
where you were like, holy crap.
Yeah.
What
And
I'm
then this
watching.
was the second.
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2.
Who would've
Either
thought?
that or when did Bolt come out?
So Mike,
Oh, never mind. Bolt in 3D. That was my first movie theater experience.
Bolt.
wow.
Okay.
Shout out to the past.
The real superhero movie right there.
Right?
Bolt.
That was
John
a good one.
Travolta.
That
John
was a good one.
Travolta.
Bolta.
What was it? What was...
Phase 1 is fun.
Oh, it's
Phase
so
1
fun.
is so fun. And Phil Coulson is a highlight, and
Yes, he is. Oh,
I
he
don't
is.
remember, but is this Samuel L. Jackson's debut as Nick Fury?
If you don't count the post-credit scene for Iron Man, yeah.
Okay, that's right. Yes, Iron Man.
Yeah.
I felt like he hadn't been in a movie already, but I knew he had been. So, thanks
But
for
you
that.
don't really get anything besides
Yeah.
a line from him. This
Yeah.
is where you really, and they don't really like. That's the thing, dude. It's Nick Fury. This is huge, and it's just a random cut to them in a diner. You know, he's like, "Sir, please get out of the donut." You know, and it's like,
Imagine if you didn't see any of the
Nick Fury.
post-credit scene. If you didn't see the Iron Man post-credit scene, you're just pulling up on this, and you're like, "Who's this dude?"
How nice would it have been if Tony's up there eating a donut and Samuel L. Jackson goes,
This is the premiere.
he goes, "You Krispy Kreme mother effer."
Oh man,
How nice would that have
that would
been?
have been too good.
Go check out the Punisher Warzone podcast to understand that reference. Can we talk about the recasting of James Rhodes?
Yes,
we
we
go
do
from
need to
Terrence
address that.
Howard to Don Cheadle.
How do you guys feel about Don Cheadle? In this movie, I feel like he's underutilized. I feel like he's thrown in there. I feel like they're very clear on his entrance. They're like, all right,
this is a new guy.
this is Rhodey. This is Rhodey now, guys. This is the guy.
Guys,
You're my
this
guy.
He's Rhodey.
This
Yeah.
guy is Rhodey. Like they say it 4 times in a row.
Well, yeah, he even comes in. He's like, "I'm here. It's me. Deal with it."
Yeah.
And it seems very like he's talking to the audience. It's very much that way. But I just know from experience watching all the other films, James
does a great
Rhodes,
job
He is
eventually.
great. He is great as Rhodey. He
Now,
is
would
so
it
good.
have
Iron Man
been-
3, I'm pretty sure he does a great job in that
Yep,
one.
he does.
Yeah.
That is 100%. And it's just that this movie gets me so hyped for like the closer we get to, we're 2 years away to 2012's The Avengers. Every day, I just want to watch that movie more and more and more. Because
Which one? The first Avengers? Oh, I think about that every day. I was thinking about that today.
We have 5 more movies, guys.
I
We gotta
literally-
stay on this movie. We gotta stay on this movie. We're
But
going off
this
track
movie
too
has
much.
so many like Easter eggs for every little thing that goes into the Avengers that I'm just so excited to finally get there.
This is our last
But
Iron Man movie.
I don't even
before.
care because we're done with I'm not even gonna lie. Like I have a soft spot in my heart for Dark World, to where I'm like the rest of the MCU films that we have for a while, I am excited for. Thor, I'm beyond hyped for. Captain America is one of my all-time favorites. Avengers, I'm literally thinking right now if it lives up to my childhood expectations. I'm literally
Yeah,
yes.
that's going to be a 10.
I'm literally thinking about giving it a 10 just
on the
now.
rewatch. It's as fantastic as we know it is.
I feel like I haven't seen Avengers ever.
That's
I feel
how
like I
good it
Ever?
is, though.
I have seen it, but I feel like I know nothing about it.
That's just going to be a
Even better
podcast.
We
of us.
might.
I'm
should we
basically
watch
going in
that
blind.
movie together?
I know the final battle, and I remember the party bus dude coming around the corner. Like, oh, the party's here.
Yeah, you are
That's all I remember.
lost.
And then Loki, and then Hulk going, puny god.
Bro, listen.
You remember parts. You don't remember the essence of it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
back to Iron Man 2. We got a little lost in nostalgia right there.
Lost in the sauce.
Lost in the sauce, man. Iron Man 2, it's serviceable as the second one, but
It is,
it
yeah.
just is a step down.
As
from the
far
first
as,
one.
can we pull up all the sequels or second installments to franchises? So we have Blade 2,
Yep.
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2. We have X2.
All three of
Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer.
those.
Okay.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm going to go stay with all three. of them.
Elektra.
Technically. Not really. Not really.
Yeah, that's not really.
So,
a
yeah,
sequel.
it's
Punisher Warzone.
Oh, that's
sequel to your
that's
favorite
true.
movie,
That's true.
Some are better, some are worse than Iron Man 2.
So as far as sequels go, this is probably in the middle.
Yeah.
I put this above above Silver Surfer.
What
For
are we
sure.
counting? The Incredible Hulk?
no.
No. Okay. As
I
the
put this
requel.
above Silver Surfer. I put this above Punisher. I'd put this below
Spider-Man 2.
This is below Spider-Man 2
Honestly,
easily.
I'd put this below Blade 2.
Easily,
I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely below Blade.
And
2.
then-
X-Men 2, honestly.
Yeah, also below X2.
I would
Yeah.
put this below
Yeah.
that one too.
Are we ranking it already?
No, we're
no,
just
no,
kind of
okay.
we're just kind of talking.
As a sequel, though,
Yeah.
I would say it fails. Because
Definitely.
as sequels go, mostly in this rewatch, they're better than the first.
Yeah.
How does Tony grow in this movie? I feel like Tony's the same character at the beginning as the end, except now he's not sick.
They gave him a really nice arc in the first one, and he's going to be in so much more.
So then who's this movie for? Who are we growing in this movie? We got Pepper a little bit, Rhodey a little bit.
Character-wise, maybe not. MCU-wise, yeah, it grows. And that's the main problem with this movie.
Yeah.
Tony is a very unlikable character, and it doesn't really do a lot for his character and his story. We do get really kind of a relationship with his dad established.
That's good.
Which pays off later in Civil War. So there's all that. Like we said, a lot of little Easter eggs or little tidbits thrown in here that help establish things later in the MCU. But yeah, as a movie and as a character, it doesn't really work in that way.
No.
So a little connection that I found is this is Jon Favreau, right? He did the first and the second. He started the MCU. I'm thinking about him starting Star Wars and very like reigniting the fandom. Very similar approaches. The first season or movie is very, self-contained. Mandalorian. It's very like barely any Easter eggs. It's just about
very
Mando's
safe
story.
Yeah.
And the second installment in Iron Man 2 has many connections to the greater MCU. It's all over the place, kind of like The Mandalorian season 2, to where you are taken across a lot of the galaxy of Star Wars, a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of characters that are coming in. It works for Mando because it's a television show. You have more time. It's very episodic. It doesn't work for movie form.
Yeah.
But I see the similarities right there. The same approach was taken.
And hey, we got season 3 coming out, and we got Iron Man 3
Fortunately,
coming
Jon
out.
Favreau is attached to season 3 and not Iron Man 3. But I am looking forward to that one. Your passion alone is
I
carrying
love Iron
me
Man
through
3.
that one.
I love it.
Did you guys get the same vibe off of Happy in this movie? I felt like he was kind of down, like not fully in it, like his mind was elsewhere.
You could say he wasn't fully in this movie either.
Yeah.
He had like 3 scenes. One of them was
What was he doing at the
absolutely
time?
beat.
What was Jon Favreau? What was his mind on? He was working on
Directing
nothing
this
else.
movie.
Yeah, just this movie. It looks like.
So there was a lot of studio interference with this movie too. Marvel wanted all these little tidbits and Easter eggs in there, and Favreau wanted a more focused movie, you could say. So yeah, we do get a little of Marvel Studio interfering in there. So there was a lot of back and forth within there. And I don't know, you said he doesn't direct the third one. Maybe that plays into this movie and just conflicts.
Interesting. Well, what's the box office of this movie compared to the first?
Yeah, let me pull that up.
Because
Has to be higher, right?
I would think the fandom of the Iron Man
you
fandom
have
is
War
huge.
Machine on the poster.
Right.
The Iron Man's an established character.
As a concept.
All right, so Iron Man 1, its budget was 100. Wait. Which one's the budget column? All right, 186 million for Iron Man 1. That was the
Okay.
budget, and it made 585 million. So it
Okay.
made quite a bit. Made half a
It
million.
made its budget back.
And that
it made a
was that's
profit.
like the third highest grossing Marvel movie up to that point. Iron Man 2, its budget was a little less at 170 million, and it made 600 million.
Oh.
So there's a 40 million increase over. So it was 620 and 580. So 40 million increase.
Yeah.
Is this one of our most financially successful, I guess is what you could say?
3.6.
Because
Not-
I'm assuming Spider-Man made more.
Not compared to Avengers.
Well, no, but I'm talking so far.
X1 was more profitable.
X-Men 1 made more than $600 million?
No. More like profit.
I don't
Budget.
care about that.
Okay,
Budget versus
Yeah. I don't care about
Budget
that. I'm talking
versus-
just...
He just cares about money.
Oh, okay.
made.
He just cares about money.
Box
right
office.
now, in our list, it is fourth place
Fourth place.
so far.
All 3 Spider-Men are more than that, I would assume.
1, 2. Oh yeah, for sure.
Got it. Okay. So
Spider-Man
the most profitable...
3, 1, and then 2, and then Iron Man 2.
But that's pretty good. To start to be compared to Spider-Man levels,
Yeah.
it just shows you where the MCU is possibly going to be. Because these are the 2 movies that really the budget of these 2 are what financed the Avengers movie.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I know that Cap doesn't make a lot, and I know that Thor doesn't make a lot either, which is a crying shame. But it all works out in the end. All is fair in love and war. But unless you guys have anything else that you want to mention, I want to do favorite character. But I want to give it to you guys first. If there's anything else you want to get on the table about Iron Man 2, now's your chance.
I love the courtroom stuff. I really do in this movie. The start of that and just
question.
Yeah.
What courtroom scenes are better? The Iron Man 2 courtroom scenes?
Iron Man 2. I know you're going to say
She-Hulk
Iron Man 2. Yeah, Iron Man 2. The courtroom scenes are better. I just love Tony's. So yeah, Tony's an unlikable guy. I would not want to hang out with him. But his courtroom antics and his arrogance and cockiness.
They got his quick-wittedness so well in this movie.
It's so fun to watch him just do his thing. And even though he's not a guy I would want to sit down and have coffee with yet, he will be eventually, but he's not that guy yet. I think watching him is so fun. It's so fun to watch RDJ do his thing as Tony.
That's 100%. All right, Micah, favorite character in Iron Man 2?
Favorite character?
It's Sam Rockwell.
This is a
We were doing least favorite character.
Man, I liked Whiplash. I liked him. I liked how cool he looked. I liked his little whip things. I like cutting the race cars.
Did you
in
like
half
Whiplash or did you like his board?
His board.
His board.
I
need my board.
Hey,
Yes.
I want my board.
A bird. You want a bird?
I want my board.
I can get you a bird. I can get you 10 birds.
I want my board.
Well, okay, nothing's impossible. Are we talking about, is this a bird back in Russia?
You know what I'm noticing about you, Mike, as we go along here? You're a simple man.
I'm a simple man.
You like simple things.
I like when things go boom. I like when things go...
And there is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I like John Wick. And John Wick...
Listen.
John Wick 4, coming out.
He liked Punisher Warzone too, right?
It was all right. It was pretty good.
Listen to the podcast.
I rated it pretty highly. Not like the best thing in the world. I wouldn't watch it a second time, but... I like Whiplash. See, he was a simple character, but he did what he needed to do to make him an intimidating villain, in my opinion. He snuck his way he tricked Hammer into giving him all his resources.
Yeah.
And he's pulled out the rug at the Stark convention, Stark Expo.
Which was cool.
That was super cool.
The ending is great.
Yeah,
I really like the ending of this.
I think the finale act in this movie is one of the better ones we've had in a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we get to see all those war machine things, the drones, just shoot things. It's like Iron Man if he had no morals. It was sick. And then to wrap it up, we had Rhodey and Tony just
going crazy.
Clobbering them.
Yeah,
it was
I
clobbering
like
time
that.
with
I
these
like
guys.
that.
They just swept through them too. It was like they were fighting with these guys for so long, and he was like, "All right, now let's start shooting them." And then they just destroy them.
When he uses the lasers and he does the whip around.
Why didn't you use those at the beginning of the fight?
Beautiful.
It's so.
It was awesome.
Such a good looking. Yeah. Both fights.
I wanted to see more of that, like what he can do with that new.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about it. He creates a new element or discovers a new element in this movie.
That's another thing.
That would have been cool if that red beam was actually like a blue beam because it was releasing the energy from the new element. I think that would have been cool.
I like the fact that he's got lasers. You know,
I think he should have had going forward. There should have been more things about because you forget that he has this new element. Is this the last heart that he gets? I think it is.
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3 gets a new heart.
Is it just removed in Iron Man 3?
Arc reactor story kind of becomes less important as time goes on now. Like, because right now it's so Iron Man focused with all of his stuff, and then they kind of just do away with that, especially in Iron Man 3. It's like the last time you really need to think about his arc reactor. And I think this is the movie that shows that. It's like, all right, he's got a new element. Boom, this is it. He's good for the rest of time.
I love the handicap of him having palladium infection or whatever disease.
It's like infecting him.
Yeah. I thought that was a cool element, and it would have been really cool if they had something long term with a character that we see here. Like, what if for some reason, what if Jane Foster is diagnosed with cancer in Dark World?
Yeah.
And then we see that throughout a couple more movies.
And then by
Ragnar, or by whatever that movie's called.
Love
that's
and
so
Thunder
trash. Love and Thunder
maybe could have been good.
There could have been a payoff in Love and Thunder where it's like, okay, we've been seeing this for the past decade.
Yeah.
With Jane Foster, we've known this character for this long, and she's been struggling with this, and Thor's been off world.
Yeah.
Where were you, Thor, when I got my diagnosis? Where were you when I...
Well, he was walking around in the hot
through...
dog costume, as we see in flashbacks.
Exactly. I think that's what this long-term kind of franchise... But they didn't know that was going to be so long-term.
Yeah.
A long-term franchise like this, that would have elevated it to the next level. And
I think we will start seeing things in this. For example, when Phil Coulson grabs the Captain America shield, he goes, "Do you know what this is?" And we don't really get more of that.
He's like, yeah, it's perfect. Get that here.
Yeah. But as we know in Avengers, Phil Coulson loves Steve Rogers. He just does. So it's really cool to see that little, do you know what this is? And he doesn't really expand out in this movie, but it's cool as a viewer. Oh, that comes back. That's so cool.
He's just like me.
He's just like me.
Oh,
he's such a fan.
Oh, we can't forget the cameo corner. We almost forgot. Stan Lee.
He plays, what's his name?
The talk show host dude.
Larry King.
Larry King.
That's who he is. He is in that. Olivia Munn plays a reporter in this movie. She will be playing Psylocke in the X-Men movies coming up here pretty soon. Christine Everhart comes back from Iron Man. Obviously, we already talked about Elon Musk. As another cameo. Phil Coulson's in here.
Stern. He's so awkward, man. Elon?
He is.
Yeah.
It's like, we got to talk about some stuff. And he's like, all right,
I like your electric rocket thing.
He's like, they just put him in there just to put him in there. There's no reason.
He was just a rich dude.
Yeah. Ethan, favorite character?
I know you're not going to. I know who you want to take, so I'll leave him on the board for you.
Thank you.
I'll take Tony. I know that he's not the most likable guy, and there's a lot of stupid things he does, and they kind of he goes a little crazy. He pees in the Iron Man suit, which I always look back on with disgust. But in this,
filtered.
It filters. Yeah, it kind of it charms me now to the character because I know where he goes. I know he becomes a character that I love even more, and I think it's a testament to what a good arc can do. It can take a character, put him in low situations like this, make him unlikable, and then bring him to be that guy that crawls on the wire, as Steve says that he would never. He crawls on the wire, and I just can't look at Tony and think that I dislike this guy because I know I love him in the end, and yeah, I'll take Tony here. I like Stark. Tony Stark.
Tony Stark.
You've conveniently and gratefully left me Justin Hammer. I'm definitely taking Justin Hammer for this. He is my most enjoyable performance throughout the whole movie. Almost any scene he's in.
I'm going to have to rewatch this movie, man.
Maybe.
I don't get it.
You did say you were sleepy during the movie.
I wasn't I said I was.
I said sleepy.
I wasn't sleepy. I was sleepy.
Yeah, during the movie. And that can affect it maybe. Maybe you were just turned off by him. But in my opinion, he's so good. He's a standout performance in this movie. I think Iron Man 3 has the weakest villain, but he is up there with Obadiah Stane as far as villains go. Definitely, I agree with Ethan on top 5 for sure. I also want to give a shout out to a character we have really neglected to talk about with Black Widow. We haven't really given her a fair shot, but this is the introduction to her. I really like the scene where she goes in and beats up all the guys, and Happy is taking on one dude.
Punches one guy. I got him!
And all those other guys are dead.
It's cool.
She's effective.
I watched every Marvel movie going into, every Marvel movie from Iron Man to Endgame with my cousin Marissa 2 summers ago. And when that scene happened, she looked at me and goes, you know what? I bet guys really liked that scene. Like, yeah, that is pretty cool.
Dude, she was only 26 at the time. She was so young.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Robert Downey Jr. was 45 when he did this movie. Even he looks it in this one. I'm not going to lie.
He's a legend.
Big time legend, man. Favorite scene. Micah, you got a favorite scene?
Well, I already talked about the final scene. And that one was really good. I think that was probably my favorite. But since I already talked about it, I want to talk about the introduction of Black Widow. I liked her. I like that the fighting scene, because there's a couple layers in that scene, and I like to see that. You get the reminder that Tony is still sick. He's got the cup with the dark liquid in it. We get to see, if you have no idea who Black Widow is when she's introduced here, she could totally blindside you here. Like, you're like, oh, she's just like some crazy, like, can fight. What? Whoa. Where did this come from? Imagine sitting in the movie theater at that time and you're like, oh, Tony Stark's just hitting on another secretary or whatever. And then she turns out to be the biggest female lead in the MCU for the next 10 years.
Good point.
Like that's crazy that she's just introduced so casually like that. And then all of a sudden flipped on its head, flips Happy Hogan on his head.
Yeah.
That is a good scene.
Hey, give her a lesson or something.
Yeah.
And it's cool the way I don't know if it's cool, but they give her more to do than you'd think. Like, all right, just a little introduction here.
Yeah. If you didn't know who she was, then you wouldn't understand what's going on. Like, she's totally playing the scene.
Yeah.
She plays exactly what a super
and
spy
we'll
should
get
do.
to talk about it next week with Hawkeye's introduction. They do that a little differently. There's a lot less substance there, but it's still really cool that they're getting ready. They're getting ready for the Avengers.
Oh, that's beautiful. Ethan, favorite scene?
So favorite scene, this is kind of, I might cheat a little, but this is kind of a two-parter. So I like the ending scene, but I like how it kind of is supported by the scene earlier where Tony and Rhodey are fighting in the house. Tony's drunk. And I also love the whole subplot of needing, or the main plot, I guess, of needing to control these dangerous weapons that the government wants to control Tony's suit. I love that. I love that whole element of this movie. I just wanted to say that now. But yeah, James Rhodes is like, no, Tony, take off the suit. And they're fighting. And then they learn in that scene at the end, when their two beams meet together,
yes,
boom, big explosion,
super sick, and they pay it off.
And that my favorite scene is when they pay it off in the end, because Tony's like, in the earlier scene, I work alone, I don't need a partner, take off the suit. And then at the end he's like,
Rhodes, I got an idea.
You want to be a hero?
What? You really use a sidekick. Put your hand up. This is your idea? Yep. I'm ready, go, go, go!
I like that. I'd say that's an arc. I'd say that's an arc. Tony learned how to work with other people in the suit. It's not just him.
The special effect that they use when it explodes was also really, really nice.
Sick.
Yeah. I would say my favorite scene is when Tony Stark's father gives him the message over the slide projector. It's really nice because the whole movie, I mean, we know the relationship that they have, especially after it's expanded upon later on. But he's like, what is and always will be my greatest creation is you. And it's really nice. And there's actually this tribute on YouTube that came out a day after Endgame. This guy posted it, and that is the whole theme of the video. It's a tribute for Tony Stark, because right after he died, everyone was looking for tributes online, and that is a through line to it all. And it's Tony's arc throughout the movies, and that scene and that line means so much after Endgame, and it was a really great scene for me watching it as an informed viewer. And even in this movie, it's really good. It's his way of connecting with his son, and his son realizing what to do, you know. That's my favorite scene. But now, as we've done with every other movie, we've come to our time where we get to rank this movie. And this is going to be interesting.
Give it our scores.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've had a pretty marginally average MCU film and a pretty great one. But where is this going to stand?
Where's this going to stand?
We're going to start with Micah first. Micah, what do you give Iron Man 2?
Iron Man 2 has its flaws. Mm-hmm. We'll say that. But it also has its good parts. Would I watch this again if not to try to see what you guys are talking about with Hammer? Probably not. So, I mean, I had a time with it, an enjoyable time. I'll say that. Great fights, great introductions, great setting up for Avengers. Great because they wanted to gear us up for Avengers with Iron Man. I think it does its job in those ways, but I don't feel like Iron Man grows too much. I don't feel like it felt like an episode of a TV show where all the characters are just back to where they were.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to give this a 6 point. Ooh, I don't know. Above or under 0.5? I'm going to go with 6.6. We're going 6.6.
Okay.
I said earlier that it's better than Howard the Duck, and it is better than Howard the Duck. I will give it that.
The quack
foo just doesn't quite...
The quack foo doesn't cut it.
Doesn't quite quack it.
Wow.
Doesn't quack the egg.
I gave
Nice.
Howard the Duck a 6.5. So this is 0.1 better.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
I think it is.
Because Howard the Duck made me laugh more.
As long as it's better than Howard the Duck. That's all that matters. Ethan.
Yeah, so even right now, I don't know how high I'm going to go with this score. I really like this movie. I think, as Micah said, it has its flaws. It gets a little blocky at times, and scenes kind of come out of nowhere. Tony Stark randomly discovers a new element that his dad left for him in the schematics of an old theme park. So that's weird. Nick Fury and all the Avenger stuff thrown in there is a little interesting. Whiplash doesn't do it for me. But man, there's a lot I really like in this movie too. Like I said, I like all the performances. Every actor I think brings their A game, and Justin Hammer kills it. Tony Stark, fun as always. Love watching him, even though he is highly unlikable at points in this movie. It's just in a day and age where we do not have movies like this anymore, and a Tony like character or a character like Tony Stark on our screen, I really do have a lot of nostalgia for this movie. I really do enjoy it. So I'm gonna go a 7.4 with this one.
Whoa. It reached a 7. Okay. IMDb has this at a 6.9, by the way.
Nice.
Just for your information. I wonder what Rotten Tomatoes says about that as well.
Rotten Tomatoes. Or do you want to give your score first?
No, I want to hear what they have to say.
Rotten Tomatoes gives it a... I can't see past my microphone to where it is. Audience was a 71, and critic was 72. Okay. Metacritic is at a 57.
Interesting. Okay, so
57
70s for Rotten Tomatoes.
This is one of our few controversial movies across the board with Metacritic.
Metacritic is usually whack, though.
Yeah, well, it pulls from a couple places. And that's how it gets its score. IMDb, yeah, as you said, 6.9. Nice. And
nice.
Yeah,
Indeed.
I just think it's strange how this is one of two movies. Oh, Metacritic thinks this is the same as Love and Thunder.
Ugh.
Yeah, see, Metacritic's whack.
There are 3 or 4 movies on our entire list where Metacritic gives it a considered rotten score compared to a fresh score.
I wonder how they do it. Yeah, so for me, this one has a lot of problems. I actually did not have the best time watching it just recently. I just got done with it today. Maybe it was because it was right off the back of Social Network, which was an epic film I just saw for the first time. I don't think it was that, though. I did a lot of homework in between. It feels so disjointed. It feels like there was a lot of scenes cut out for time. A lot of the plots that you mentioned don't really make sense. Tony is not as likable for me in this movie. And it's just, in a movie where the first installment was so good, to dip down this low is so jarring to me. And I don't know if I'll ever really rewatch this again unless it's going to be in like a rewatch type scenario like this. And for those reasons, Justin Hammer aside being a very big standout, I'm going to give this movie a 6.5.
Okay.
Wow.
As well.
We just made Multiverse Monologue history. The first time Ethan gave it the highest score.
First time ever I gave a movie the highest score.
Wow.
No way.
Okay. Guys,
He's really never given it higher than both of us?
Nope. The last time it was this close was Blade, where you guys tied.
Okay.
Wow.
What did we both give Blade?
7.
Both gave Blade a 7. What did you give Blade?
I give Blade a 6.7.
Oh.
First Blade?
I was trying to be spicy, I guess. I was giving myself some room to grow, you know?
Yeah.
Didn't want to rate too high.
6.7.
Looking back, I'd probably rate it a 7 now that I kind of know what my ranking is.
Yeah.
Because a 7 is the threshold of like, okay, yeah, to watch this again. Yeah. I'd have a fun time watching this again.
So looking back, Ben, you rated Incredible Hulk a 6.
0.5.
Correct. A 6.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got Incredible Hulk as a 6.5.
Which one is better?
In my opinion, Incredible Hulk slightly edges it out.
Ooh, okay.
For sure.
I respect it. Okay.
I don't think neither of them deserve the 7 though. I don't think, because I would not rewatch either of them.
I think I don't know. I've hated this movie every time I've watched it before this moment.
I think you were right before.
But
me too.
I really like this movie now.
I think it's because you watched it in 4 sittings. Anyway,
that could be why. I'm not going to lie.
No. I am seeing things the way the creators wanted me to see it.
I guess
this movie.
I don't think John Favreau wanted you to see this. So our ranking, this is our 22nd movie. Yep. I think, Ben, at the beginning you said 23rd. This is our 22nd movie.
My mistake.
Loser.
And our average score is 6.83.
6.83.
If you can recall, for last week, X-Men Origins Wolverine was a 6.7. So this puts it just above X-Men Origins Wolverine. Would you say?
Yeah.
That it's okay.
Out of the 22. What place is this?
9th place.
9th place.
9th place.
Can you read the top 9 for us?
Top 10? Want me to just do top 10 at that
point?
Yeah,
top 10.
Number 1, Spider-Man 2 at a 8.9. Number 2, Iron Man at an 8.8. Third place, Spider-Man at a 7.9. Spider-Man 3 at a 7.5. X2 at a 7.5. That's 5th place for those who keep track at home. Blade 2, we are now in 6th place, 7.3. X-Men, 6.9 in 7th place. 8th place is Blade at a 6.9. 9th place is Iron Man 2 at a 6.8. And 10th place is X-Men Origins Wolverine at a 6.7.
X-Men
Origins Wolverine as 10.
I'm excited to bump that out of the top 10. I'm excited to bump that out next week.
Top.
Yeah.
Because Thor, I'm telling you, I know
this is our last standing. We will not see a lot of these movies in our top 10 going forward.
No.
Like, these will be kicked down quick.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like, I was very surprised to hear that Blade 2 is number 6 right now.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Not that Blade 2 isn't good. It's just really cool
Blade
to
2,
see
we
it up
gave
there.
a 6.9, 7.5, and 7.6. So we thought it was like...
I thought it was pretty good.
Like, kind of, you know, like,
I mean,
I'd
that's
watch this
good
again.
For something
It was
released
good.
back then.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that.
But all the 8s coming up?
And yeah, Ben, you were saying how normally I'm not too hot on Thor.
You're not.
And I'm not.
remember you
I'm
saying
not.
that, yeah.
But I also was not too hot on Iron Man 2. And here we go, me being
That's
an apologist for Iron Man 2. So bring it on, Thor. I love Tom Hiddleston as Loki. He is a standout. He's one of the best characters and best castings in all of the MCU. Very underappreciated to this day, I think. And I'm really excited to revisit this film.
Just taking the moment, boys. This is probably our last week with 2 8 movies. That's it.
2 8 movies?
You think that
8 out of 10s.
You think that Thor is going to...
I think here on out for a while
We're
is
gonna
going to
be
be 8 plus territory.
Oh,
okay.
We got Thor, X-Men First Class, Captain America.
Why'd you whisper X-Men First Class?
I don't know. Is that controversial? I have no idea.
No.
X-Men First Class is...
Okay.
I think it's more controversial to say Thor is an 8 than X-Men
really?
First Class is an 8.
Okay.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I forget. You guys were hyping up Thor, so I haven't seen Thor in a long time.
No. Who knows? Who knows?
We got First Class. We got Captain America, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, and then we got some
Spirit of Vengeance is going to be an 8.
Mid-Vengers coming up too.
Oh,
I wouldn't
my
be surprised
God.
if we have our first 9 with Avengers.
Oh.
We got so close with our
Spider-Man
2 was an 8.9. We were so close.
We were so close.
That's okay. So stay tuned next week for Thor. Much anticipated,
Available?
at least by me. Available on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus,
as
yes.
usual.
Did they have the IMAX one on Disney Plus? Because they didn't have Iron Man 2 on IMAX.
They did.
Maybe that's why you took a nap during the movie.
I'm not
IMAX.
sure if they have Thor. I don't think they do, but I could be wrong on that. But stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the Last of Us podcast. Mike and Ethan and Brandon, who's a welcome guest on the show. We'll be going back and listen to the episode 2 podcast. It was very epic. I'm excited for things to come. And so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for YouTube. We've got projects coming out galore. And
galore.
And
we just had a DC podcast drop today. James Gunn unveiled his new slate, and me and Ben, who don't know much about DC, try to react to that.
Oh, it was very interesting because I know a certain amount. And let me tell you something. The new slate is something else. So go give that a listen.
This is something else.
I give my live reaction to that. I did not look at it
beforehand. Blind reaction.
Bad Batch still going strong?
Bad Batch is going strong.
What episode are we on now? 4?
Next week there is a 2 episodes coming out in the same week. It's a mid-season, kind of the finale, I guess.
You say the season's been pretty mid?
You said mid-season?
I would say it has been like a 6 out of 10 so far.
Okay, because I watched the first 3. I'm behind now, so we'll see.
Episode 3 was without a doubt like the best thing to come out of this show. But there's the clone conspiracy is the next titled clone episode, so that could be insane. But we shall see. But for now,
mid-batch.
Not mid-batch. I'll stand by that. A lot of people say mid-batch though. That's not controversial. That's the common opinion. But, that's just who I am. But for now, this is Ben Rayside.
This is Ethan Wensloff.
This is Micah Head.
Signing off. We all hope you have an absolutely fantastic day.